target for 2017. We have with us health and fitness coach Ed Williams. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting me.
Ed, we know you are a forever advocate in terms of getting people motivated to get healthy.
Right.
And I joked with you that this is your busy season when people start coming in and wanting to make those changes. Now, there are several reactions to that. Some say, oh, they're not serious if they come in. What's your take when someone comes in and says, Ed, this is the year, I'm gonna get healthy. Not necessarily slim, not necessarily lose weight, not just with the focus of getting healthy. What do you do?
I love it because there has to be a start.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, procrastination is killing them. And whenever you reach, for whatever reason, a point where you say, you know, I'm tired of this, I've had enough, it's time to change this, right? The feeling, a human emotion that I love is called disgust. If you know, this is a very motivating human emotion. And I always remember my dad when I think about this, because my dad used to be a smoker, right? I remember as a kid, whenever he calls me and he's talking to me, I have to be doing like this, right? Because I have to talk to him through a cloud of smoke, right? And one day, it just dawned on him that you know, and so I saw him looked at the cigarette and he looked at me and he had this disgusted look on his face. And then he put the cigarette down and he put it out with vengeance. Now, I didn't know this, but later on when I grew up, he told me, do you remember that time when I was talking to you? And I said, yeah, I remember. Of course, I can't forget. He said, that was the last cigarette I smoked.
Wow.
This is the power of disgust. If you know, a lot of people need all kind of help to quit smoking. But with this emotion, it will enable you to make the changes in your life that has been bugging you for years and years and years. So when people reach that point, for whatever reason, where they say, okay, I got to do this, I encourage it.
Yeah.
But the thing to understand is how to keep them going. See, that's my job as a coach.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily their job because they don't understand, right? As a coach, I say, good, let's make a start.
Yeah.
And then I explain to them, okay, this is how we're going to keep this going. We're going to set a short-term goal. Right? The problem with most people is they set long-term goal. They will set a goal for the entire 2017 and say, okay, in 2017 I'm going to... No. How about a goal for the month of January?
Yeah.
Right? And then at the end of January, we'll have what we call a progress tracker diagnostic, where I'll sit down with them and we'll do about a scan and everything, and we'll look at their numbers, and we'll look at, of course, we would have already done a baseline body diagnostic at the beginning when they start. If you're starting anything, please don't underestimate the importance of tracking your results. Right? Imagine a basketball game, people playing any kind of game and nobody's keeping score. How long can you keep playing it? Right? Not very long. Right? You're going to quit. You're eventually. So this is the deal. Keep score. You got to get, you know, track your results.
When you say baseline, what do you mean? Like measurements and weight?
Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
See, weight is just a number. And this is where a lot of people make mistake, because they set a goal like, I want to lose 20 pounds. That is a very vague goal.
In terms of fitness. Yeah.
Right. What we need to ask, so if somebody comes to me, for example, and they tell me I want to lose 20 pounds, Ed. I said, my question to them is 20 pounds of what?
Yeah.
You have to decide. You have to decide. Now, when I say, and if I say to you, your weight is 200 pounds, your question to me should be 200 pounds of what? How is that made up?
Yeah.
This is important. If you're going to set a goal, you've got to get specific, right?
I want to put a pin right there, because when it comes to fitness, it's definitely not one size fits all. I think especially in 2017, there's so many ways to get fit. There's CrossFit, there's yoga, there's traditional cardio. How do you determine when you reach that level of disgust where you're just like, I can't take my body anymore, I just want to be healthier? How do you then move even start, before you start, decide, okay, well, I want to do it this way, or how do you know what's going to be most beneficial to the type of body that you have?
Well, it's advisable in any endeavor to have a coach. I have a coach. I have a coach in internet marketing. I have several coaches I have a coach, a nutritional coach. I have a coach. I have coaches. It's important if you want to go to the next level. So it's not necessarily for you to decide, but it's for you to sit with somebody who can point you in the right direction, who can, give you the right, give you the right information, so you can make the right decision as to what you need to do, because you're right. It's not a one-size-fits-all. First of all, before you can set your goal, you have to decide, before you can decide what type of fitness, what type of exercise, what you're going to do, you have to first decide what you want to accomplish, what your goal is. Is your goal to transform your body? There are all sizes and shapes of bodies. Some people want to lose weight, right? Now, losing weight is a very general outlook. Some people want to gain weight, right? But let's talk about what is desirable, or
has more longevity.
Right, but I'm looking at more like what you should lose,
Yeah.
as opposed to what you
Which is
can't
fat.
afford.
You should always want to lose fat.
Exactly.
That's it.
No, and as far as gain, you should always want to gain lean muscle.
Yeah.
But see, the problem is a lot of people don't know this.
Yeah.
Because
So if you look at just numbers, you may lose muscle, or you might lose muscle and your numbers go down, but you don't lose fat.
when that happens, this is where this weight loss roller coaster comes into effect. Right?
So, Ed, I want to go back to some of the things we were saying in terms of somebody comes in, and it is so hard for some of us. If we're kind of like borderline where we want our body to be, it's easier to get back into a gym mode or exercise. But I want to talk about a group of persons that it is very hard, even psychologically, to work.
Right.
And those are the people who are very obese. They're very large. They probably have maybe 100, 200 pounds to lose of fat. And they look at fitness workouts and they see jumping and running and all this very rigid exercise, and their body would go in complete shock if they do something like that. Talk to them about how you can work with them to move them, because it's an incremental type process to get started on that weight loss goal, because it's hard for them to even imagine starting the process, even more so being successful.
These are my favorite people to work with, right? Just so you know, I love working with people like this because, frankly speaking, exercise is overrated, right? Exercise is really only 30% of the equation that's necessary to transform your body. But as far as people that are grossly overweight, first thing we have to do is, of course, we have to do a body scan. And then we have to look at the reality. If you have 200 pounds of fat, I will tell them, you're carrying around another person. It's time to leave that person along the way. It's time to drop that person. And I will emphasize it because, like I said earlier, this emotion of disgust, I want to stir it up inside of them so they have that engine below their hood to keep going. No, in the beginning, they don't have to kill themselves with exercise. Matter of fact, exercise is the last thing that we'll talk about. What we'll talk about is, I'd like to give people an understanding of how your body works. Your body is a highly, it's instinctively, your body is trying to keep you alive. Survival is the key, right? So, hence the reason why it stores fat, right? Fat is energy in storage form. Now, whenever you are constantly, let's say you're going through a lot of stress, you're constantly getting hungry, constantly getting thirsty, your blood sugar is going up all the time. These are these are signals that your body responds to, your body adapts to this, because this is telling your body that it needs to go into a state of emergency. When your body goes into a state of emergency, what that means is it's getting ready for fight or flight.
Yes.
Right? So what does it need for both of those? Energy.
Yes.
So your body goes into energy storage mode like crazy, and not only that, it locks down the energy that's already stored, so you can't access it. So you can't burn. And a lot of these people, they complain all the time, I can't seem to lose weight.
And this is one of the things I think is so important. There are two types of people. There are those who, well, I don't know if there are only two, I won't say that. But there are people who eat based on their stress level or emotional level. That they don't even realize what they're putting into their mouth, because they're consumed mentally with something else.
Right.
But then you have those who jump on a weight loss program, as they call it, and they just stop eating, or they cut essential portions of their meals.
Right.
So, I know you've spoken about this several times, and it's always fascinating to me how people don't understand this concept that if you don't eat, you won't necessarily lose weight that you'll keep off. Why is that? Talk to us about that.
It's the same concept. It's the emergency.
Yeah.
Your body goes into a state of emergency. Your body is trying to help you to survive, but what can it do? It will protect the body fat that's stored, because then there may be a famine or something.
Yeah, it doesn't know where next source of energy will come from.
So it'll protect that, and then it will always strive to store more fat, right? Now, this is just your body, but this highly adaptive nature of your body, you can learn to make it work for you instead of against you. And this is where, when I'm sitting down with these people, this is what I try to educate them about, right? But even before that, what's important is getting the head together, right? Getting the thoughts together, getting, our as human being, we have a brain that is more powerful than any computer man has ever made and will ever make. But the problem is that we only use a small portion of that, maybe a little less than 10%.
Yeah.
It's like like an iceberg. You have like 10% sitting on the top, and below you have this huge iceberg. Well, that part of the brain is what runs our life.
Yeah.
It's the subconscious, right? Or the unconscious. Some people call it the unconscious mind. That's what runs our lives. And we program it. We either program it ourselves, and a lot of times we are programming it negatively, right? Negative self-talk. Don't underestimate the power of self-talk. Don't underestimate the power of visualization. Athletes know this. All athletes, all professional athletes, because they spend a lot of time visualizing where they want to be and how they want to, to their routine. They will go through it in their head many times, right? But the thing is this, that subconscious mind is what controls it. We call it like your autopilot.
Yes.
It's like an undercurrent that's taking you in a direction. You want to go this way, but it's taking you this way, and you want, well, what's happening here, right? You're at conflict with yourself, right? So, but the thing to understand is that if you're not programming it, then who is? This is a question. And a lot of us are programmed by the food manufacturing industries, right? They program that computer. So we are gravitating towards certain foods that they want us to buy, but it's not necessarily in our best interest. So
now let me go back to the issue of the people who are still on starting their resolution. You've had success in terms of having people who start the program in January and stick with it and lose the weight they want to do, or get their body in the condition that they want to do. What do you find are some of the keys to success in these persons? What makes someone who starts in January and become a person who regularly exercises and healthier versus somebody who starts in January and ends by March? What's the difference between the two personalities?
Okay, one is mindset. The most important one is mindset. And we try to set this right at the beginning,
Yeah.
right? That's one of the reasons why it's so important to have this consultation, this sit down with people and talk to them about this so they can have the right mindset. Then, because remember now, we're talking about the power of the mind, the subconscious mind. So this is the autopilot. You know, some people, there are lots of people who they seem to just go from one success to another effortlessly. And you wonder, they must be gifted. They're not gifted. They don't have anything you don't have, right? They just learn how to use what they have better than you do. That's all. So they know how to program that subconscious mind. So it's like they're on autopilot,
Yeah.
right? And they're just, and then there are some people who go from one failure to the next, right? Why?
So you find it's more about the mental
Mindset
yeah,
is
the
very
mindset
important. It's
that
very
people
important.
have.
In addition to that, though, in order to keep going, like I mentioned before, you have to utilize the power of results, the motivating power of your results. I always say this, results is the name of the game. So we have to track results. Each time you track results, what happens? We look at it, and even if it's not so great an improvement, much less if it's even greater, you get fired up and you're ready to go. A lot of times when I sit down with people, I say, okay, they said, after a month, I would sit down and show them their results, and they say, oh man, I'm raring to go. Let's go ahead. I want to make a determination for the rest of, no. I said, not the rest of the year, just for the next month. We're going to meet again at the end of February. We're going to do this. We're going to go through this exact routine that we're going through at the end of February. And before you know it, it's going to be the end of the year. And then you will look back and say, wow, right? And then the beautiful thing about your body is once you get to a certain point, then your body becomes very forgiving. And then there's absolutely, the odds of going backward are really, really slim to none, right? But you got to get beyond that point. And my goal in working with people and coaching them is to get them beyond that point.
What I like about one of the things that you also encourage is that not everybody's cut out for a gym. It's very simple. Not everybody wants to be in a gym having a drill master behind them. And some people decide to take on their own fitness journey. You also provide tips for that in terms of how to do it right.
Exactly.
Because walking is great in terms of just being able to do some activity, but it's not necessarily great for your fitness goals. So let's talk about some of the things that you see people doing that perhaps they need to
do a little better.
Do a little better.
Well, walking is the best place to start for people that are overweight, right? It's low impact, providing you walk the right way, right? Because walking can be impactful for people. Because imagine if you are 300 pounds, right, and you are stomping, right? So now it's like you're carrying 600 pounds on you, right?
Yeah.
The impact on your ankles and on your knees, so you can. You can't keep that up for long. So walking correctly, doing it right. Old school says that everybody has a target heart rate. You have to find out what your target heart rate is. This is old school. And basically what you have to do is go up to your target heart rate and maintain your target heart rate for a period of time, for an hour or whatever.
Yeah.
But I said this is old school because this does not accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. What you want to do is drive your heart rate way above your target heart rate and then bring it back down.
Okay.
Up, down. Now, how do you do this? You have to power walk, but you have to power walk in intervals. Let's say, for example, you're walking around Princess Margaret Drive and you say, okay, you've lamppost lens. Say, okay, I'm gonna power walk, right? Really, really power walk for 2 lamppost lengths. And then I'm going to chill for 1. Then I'm going to do that again. And I'm going to do that until I get all the way around to Barnless Grade. That'd be one good workout.
Yeah.
You would burn some fat and you will see some results.
Yeah.
And you would be motivated.
Yeah.
Right?
Now, can you speak to the person who doesn't care about results? Because there are a lot of people who they exercise to eat, or so that they could just
Eat what they want, yeah.
Exactly. I'm gonna walk today so that I can, have a lychee today.
Well, even that is a result.
How do you speak to that?
That is a result.
That's
as
a
well.
result, yeah.
That's their result. That's their goal.
Yeah.
But let me just address that for you. It's really a smart strategy.
Okay.
It's a very smart strategy, but used wrongly.
Yeah.
But the strategy is good. We use it. Let's say, for example, part of over the holidays, we know people are going to go crazy and stuff like that. I'm not one to say don't do this and live your life in a bubble. No, man, enjoy your life, right? But use strategy. We talked about this planning. So the muscles are like sponges, right? So they are using a very powerful strategy, but they don't know it yet. They just need to know. The muscles are like sponges, and they have glycogen stored in them. Glycogen is a ready form of energy in case you need to make a sudden move. The energy is already there in the muscle.
Yeah.
Now, we have a thing we call a depletion workout. A depletion workout is a workout that you would do. Let's say Saturday. You're going to this function and you're going to go overboard a little bit. You're going to indulge. So Friday you do a depletion workout. You squeeze the glycogen out the muscles. Now, on Saturday now, when you go to your event now, instead of that excess calories going to your waistline, it goes to replenish the glycogen in the muscles. So you don't see, and there are lots of people who you wonder about them. Because they're always indulging and they never gain, and you almost want to hate them, right?
Yeah.
Because everything just shows up on your waistline, and
I think you also have the people who are the opposite, who they think they're exercising so that they could eat, and they're not seeing any results. And I think that could be kind of negative as well, where you're doing the work, but if you go home and you just cancel all that out with $5 fatty fried chicken, you're not taking care of the wellness inside, because like you said earlier, it's about a balance.
I am not by any means condoning that, right? Because nutrition is an important part. You see, 70% of the equation is nutrition and lifestyle. That's what we're talking about. So wellness is it's a total package, right? It doesn't necessarily mean you have to deprive yourself of the foods you love.
Yeah, right.
Because there is always a healthy version of any food you love. You might have to make it yourself, because then the people that are in business to make it, they might say, if I make this like that, I'll have to charge this. Are you willing to pay it? No. Okay.
And we have such an abundance of healthy food that we can get in Belize. It's just it's learning how to prepare it, or to put the right combinations together.
Right.
I want, it's so, I think you said it, Jamie, in terms of, I have quite a few people who I know who exercise literally to eat what they want, and they maintain it. That is their result that they work towards.
Right.
But I think it is also key for us to be able to recognize the overall wellness and health that we need to look at. Ed, you have been at this for decades, and I know you always speak about your own personal successes in being able to maintain a fitness lifestyle. Your mind and your nutritional aspect are so important. And I know even now, more and more, there are studies coming out showing that even rest is something that is so critical. If you don't sleep enough, guilty, then you are more at risk for developing many different conditions and also struggling with your fitness goals, right?
Exactly.
So let's talk about how you balance all of this. Most people who have fitness goals have to wake up early or go to bed late or figure it out somewhere in between. Talk about maintaining that full balance.
Okay. First, let me say this. Sleep, you hit the nail on the head. Your body puts you to sleep so you can go to work and do what it needs to do, right? a lot of people are in the gym or out in the park and they're saying, especially, let's talk about people in the gym, like the people with their weights. They say, I'm building muscles. I always say to them, you're not building anything. You're tearing it down. That's what you're doing. This is the process. It's important to understand. I think if you understand things, and that's why I believe in being a coach, because I think if you understand, you're more likely to do it. You know, if you understand. I've found this has worked for me in my years when I went to college. You know, it worked for me. I always want to understand. Right? So, if you, I lost my train of thought.
No, we were talking about rest, the importance
Rest,
of rest.
good,
Yeah.
thank you. When you're in the gym, you're tearing down muscle tissue. The building takes place when you're sleeping. The building, rebuilding and repairing takes place when you're sleeping. So two things you have to consider. One, you got to get enough rest. You got to give your body that time. If you're smart, you'll give your body that time. And you need about 7 or 8 hours. You need a good solid 7 or 8 hours. Now, basically, when you're sleeping, your body is going through the process. But the other thing I was thinking about is this: you have to give it the wherewithal. See, in order to do it, because so that the thing, what it needs to work with. See, a lot of people try to build muscle, build lean muscle, and they don't, and they're losing muscle. And we ask, why am I losing muscle? Each time we do that body scan and we look at body composition, and they say, okay, so I will look at them and I say, okay, there's several reasons for this. Stress is one, or you need to build your meals around the protein. You're not getting enough protein. Maybe I might recommend a protein supplement, a nice tasty shake in the evening before you protein shake in the evening. It's very nice. I have one every evening, right? Mixed with oatmeal. I blend it with oatmeal and, you know, with banana and stuff, and it's very nice. So. Yeah. But you have to make sure your body have this, you know, and if you don't.
So it's balance. Ultimately, it's balancing out proper eating, getting in enough exercise, and resting. Yeah. Now, my final point, Ed, is one I think we've talked about off camera quite a bit, and it's how parents influence children. We have said many times before how important it is to do it for yourself, and one of the motivations people can have is doing it for their children. In fact, most of the fitness instructors I've spoken to, or persons who are on a health journey, have had at least one parent who has been interested or been continuously involved in exercise or fitness. So it seems to be something that passes on. We know children do what they see their parents do. So let's talk about how parents can help children who are borderline obese or actually obese to get them moving.
Okay. Well, I can give you an example.
Yeah.
I talked about this before. With you, right? And my dad used to wake me up at 5 o'clock in the morning and take me with him. Now, I was 5 years old, so I couldn't do nothing. I just watched their clothes, right? But I'm watching these guys and I'm admiring these guys. And I'm like, when I grow up, I want to be like this, right? So anyway, eventually I got to the point where I started doing it. And then I started waking up my dad. Instead of him waking me 5 o'clock, I said, Dad, we got to go. He's like, man, I said, let's go, we got to go. It's you know, let's see what time it is. And this thing stuck. You know, it's a healthy addiction, right? And then we used to stop at the market on the way back and get fresh produce and fish and stuff, right? Yeah. On the way back home. And then we go home and have a good breakfast. And I just got hooked on this stuff. So
that's the key. And that's one of the things. Get your kids involved.
Got to role model this. Yeah. Right? They got to role model this. I mean, this was, I'm 61 years old, right? So 56 years later, I'm still hooked on this.
Well, that's quite a testament for people to be able to use as a motivation. So we're so grateful that you came in. We know that a huge part of what you do as a coach is to be able to keep on pushing people to get started and keep going. And we hope the conversation this morning has helped to do so.
I hope so too.
All right.